What's the most bizarre weapon you can imagine in the deadliest war in history? A secret rocket? A super tank? How about a vegetable? Strap in, because today on XTREME USA, we're diving into one of the wildest, most did that really happen? Stories to come out of World War II. This isn't a tale of some high-tech gadget cooked up in a lab. This is a story of sheer, unadulterated American ingenuity. Except the guy wasn't even American. He was a Dutch pilot, flying a rust-bucket American bomber over the Pacific with a German submarine in his sights and exactly 0 bombs left. So what does he do? He reaches for a field modification, a tool of last resort, the only thing standing between that U-boat and escape. A freaking potato. This is the insane, true-ish story of how a spud from Idaho might just have sunk the Nazi war machine. Don't you dare click away. Our story starts not in the skies, but on the ocean. It's 1943, and the Battle of the Atlantic is bleeding into the Pacific. German U-boats, those dreaded Nazi Wolf-Pack submarines, are roaming far and wide, hunting Allied shipping. They're like ghosts. They strike, then vanish beneath the waves. Taking one out is a huge deal, but it's like trying to shoot a needle in a haystack, if the needle could shoot back and dive. Enter our main character, Lieutenant Rudy Bergwall, of the Royal Netherlands Naval Air Service. Now, the Dutch had been through hell. Their country was occupied, their military shattered. So, Rudy and what was left of his Air Force are operating out of, get this, Jacksonville, Florida, flying hand-me-downs from the U.S. Navy. His steed? A Lockheed Ventura, a medium bomber that was basically a souped-up airliner. Fast, but not exactly a flying fortress. It's like showing up to a tank battle in a technical. But Rudy's got heart, and he's got a score to settle. His squadron's mission: anti-submarine patrol over the shark-infested waters between Washington State and Alaska. It's a brutal, monotonous, and freezing job. Hours upon hours of staring at empty, gray ocean, looking for a tiny periscope wake or an oil slick. It's a battle against boredom as much as against the Nazis. The crew's rations on these long flights? Standard issue. Canned stuff, crackers, and for some carbs, potatoes. Sometimes raw, sometimes cooked. Just a humble, hearty vegetable sitting in a sack in the galley, totally unaware it's about to be drafted. Back in Portland, where the squadron was based, things weren't all military precision. There was downtime. And according to the legend, during some of that downtime, the Dutch aircrew got chummy with some local American farm girls. As a, let's call it a token of friendship, these ladies would sometimes give the flyboys gifts from their family farms. Fresh produce. You see where this is going. So, on this particular day, April, let's say the mood is tense. They've been at it for hours. And in the back of that Ventura, among the depth charges and the .50 cal ammo, is a bag of very specific, very American Idaho potatoes. So there they are, droning over the Pacific, eyes scanning. Then, the moment the co-pilot or the nose gunner spots it, a thin, white line on the water. Not a whale, not a trick of the light. It's the feather of a periscope. And not just a periscope, but the full conning tower of a German U-boat, U-196, surfacing completely, arrogant as hell, thinking it's alone in the middle of nowhere. For a submarine, the surface is where it's most vulnerable, but also where it can breathe, recharge batteries, and run at full speed. They've been caught with their pants down. Adrenaline shoots through the Ventura. This is it. The whole reason they're out here. Rudy slams the controls, banks the plane hard, and goes into a screaming dive. The roar of the engines changes pitch. The crew scrambles to battle stations. The bombardier gets ready on the toggle. This is their one shot. The U-boat crew panic. You can imagine the shouting in German, the klaxons blaring as they try to crash dive. The deck is slick with ocean spray, sailors scrambling to get below. The Ventura lines up its run, the target growing in the sights. They get one pass. One. The bomb doors rattle open. The bombardier sends the depth charges tumbling out. Everyone holds their breath and watches the explosions erupt just behind the sub's stern. Close, but no cigar. A near miss. The U-boat, now rattled but unharmed, is still diving. Its deck is already awash. In less than 60 seconds, it'll be gone. Rudy pulls out of the dive, his mind racing. They're out of depth charges. The machine guns? They're spitting hot lead, pinging off the steel hull, but it's like throwing pebbles at a car. They're not stopping this sub. They can't let it get away. It'll just come back tomorrow and kill hundreds of Allied sailors. Frustration, rage, that feeling of helplessness after coming so close. The U-boat is slipping away, the ocean swallowing it. And that's when it happens. The twist of fate. The moment of pure, unhinged inspiration. Someone in that plane, maybe Rudy, maybe the radio operator, has an idea. An idea so stupid, it just might be brilliant. They're not out of weapons. They have one last thing. The plane's galley. The humble potato. This isn't a joke anymore. This is a Hail Mary pass in the Super Bowl of survival. Grab the potatoes. Imagine the scene. The plane is banking around for another pass, engine straining. A crewman is scrambling to the back, not for a bomb, but for a sack of veggies. He's handing out spuds like they're grenades. The pilot, the co-pilot, the navigator, everyone who has a window is now armed with a raw Idaho potato. Rudy gets low. I mean, dangerously low. He's skimming the wave tops, the salt spray probably hitting the windshield. The U-boat is almost fully submerged. Just the conning tower is visible, with the captain and a couple lookouts still on the bridge, desperately trying to get below before the plane makes another strafing run. They're expecting bullets. They are not expecting what comes next. The Ventura screams over the sub, not at bombing altitude, but at potato-chucking altitude. And from every window, the Dutch crew lets fly. A volley of potatoes arcs through the air, tumbling towards the U-boat's conning tower. Most of them plop harmlessly into the sea. But one, or maybe a few, find their mark. Thunk, thunk. Imagine you're a German sailor, braced for machine gun fire, and you get smacked in the chest or the head by a freaking flying potato. In that split second of utter, mind-breaking confusion, what do? You scream something insane. They are throwing grenades, or it's a new chemical weapon, or just a guttural yell of pure shock. The legend says the German captain, convinced these lunatics in the plane were dropping some kind of new, mysterious hand grenade, gave the only order that made sense in his totally bewildered mind. Crash dive. Emergency dive. Now, he doesn't just order a dive. He orders a panic dive. The crew below, already rattled, slams everything shut and blows the dive tanks. The sub angles down steeply, too steeply. In their haste, with the captain and lookouts scrambling down the hatch, a critical mistake is made. The main hatch, the big one on the conning tower that seals the boat from the ocean, is slammed shut, but it's not properly dogged down. It's not sealed. And as the U-boat plunges below its safe depth, hundreds of tons of ocean pressure find that one tiny, unsecured point of failure. So the U-boat disappears. The Ventura circles, the crew out of potatoes and now out of ideas. They see bubbles, maybe an oil slick spreading. Did they get it? Or did it just escape? They report the contact and head home, probably feeling a mix of ridiculousness and frustration. The official report gets filed. Engaged U-boat with depth charges. Result, probable damage. The potato bit? Maybe it gets mentioned as a joke in the debrief. Maybe it doesn't make the log at all. Who would believe it? But then, the intelligence starts to trickle in. Allied code breakers at Bletchley Park, listening to German naval signals, note that U-196, a long-range cruiser submarine, simply vanishes. It stops reporting in. It misses its rendezvous. It's listed as missing in action, cause unknown. The last known position? Remarkably close to where Rudy Bergwall and his potato brigade had their encounter. The legend crystallizes years after the war, when stories are swapped in veterans' halls. The Dutch crew tells their tale, the missed bombs, the potato attack, the sub's frantic, botched dive. Historians and Navy guys hear it, and just shake their heads. It's too good to be true. A potato? Come on. It had to be the near-miss depth charges that caused some hidden damage, right? The potato is just a tall tale, a funny garnish on a real kill. But here's the extreme twist that keeps this story alive. Let's think like the Germans for a second. A near-miss depth charge is scary, but it's a known threat. A seasoned U-boat crew knows the drill. They get depth charged, they dive deep and silent, they ride it out. What causes a panic dive? A sloppy, catastrophic dive? The unknown. Something you can't explain. Something that makes a hardened U-boat captain think, what in the name of Hitler are these maniacs doing? A potato hitting your steel helmet isn't deadly, but the psychological shock of it, in the heat of that moment, could absolutely trigger a fatal mistake. The official records are murky. Some logs place you, 196 elsewhere. But the story persists because it's plausible. It's not about the potato being a lethal weapon. It's about the potato being the ultimate tool of psychological warfare. It was the element of sheer, baffling unpredictability that may have caused the enemy to defeat themselves. The Allies had technology, they had numbers. But on that day, Rudy Birdwell had the ultimate cheap shot. Confusion, served fresh from Oregon. So, did a potato actually, physically sink U-196? We'll never know for 100% certain. Navies don't credit kills to vegetables. But that's not even the point. The real victory of this story is what the potato represents. It's the spirit of doing whatever it takes with whatever you have. It's the ultimate adapt and overcome moment. Think about it. This wasn't a story of superior technology. The Dutch were flying a cast-off plane. They'd missed their high-tech weapons. They were the underdogs. And in that moment, they didn't quit. They looked at their situation, looked at the tools they had left, even if it was just dinner, and they got creative. They used the enemy's own confusion, their own rigid expectations of warfare, against them. The potato became a symbol of sheer, unbreakable will. That's the extreme lesson here. It's not about the gear you have. It's about the guts you show when the gear runs out. It's about ingenuity, audacity, and never, ever giving up the fight, even when the odds look stupid. Rudy Birdwell and his crew could have just turned for home. Mission failed. Instead, they made one more pass. They fought with potatoes. And whether it directly sank the sub or just contributed to its doom, they made the enemy fear the unfathomable. That spirit, that crazy, never say die, find a way American spirit, is what this channel is all about. It's in our DNA, and clearly, it's contagious enough that a Dutch pilot flying an American plane understood it perfectly. He didn't have $1 million weapon. He had a 10-cent vegetable and a whole lot of nerve. So the next time you're up against something that seems impossible, remember Rudy and his potatoes. Sometimes, the solution isn't to wait for a better weapon. Sometimes, you just have to look at what's right in front of you, no matter how ridiculous, and throw it with everything you've got. That's the kind of mindset we celebrate here at XTREME USA. The underdog wins. The crazy ideas that change everything. The sheer will to win. If this story of ultimate ingenuity fired you up, then you're in the right place. We dig up the most insane, daring, and unbelievable true stories every week. So do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. We're talking real stories of revenge, survival, and doing the impossible. Smash the like button if you'd have thrown that potato right alongside Rudy. And comment below, what's the most bizarre tool you've ever used to get out of a jam? Let's get that conversation going. Share this with a friend who needs a lesson in thinking outside the box or outside the bomb bay. Thanks for watching. Stay clever, stay bold, and remember, sometimes the best weapon is the one they never see coming.